Okay, welcome to another session on JavaScript. In this class, we'll be doing DOM, Document Object Model. Another session, we'll be doing review of the exercise that we gave in the assignment, which is to make this to-do app interactive, to make it add content to what it is we have here. And we'll not just limit that to that. So I want to see if you guys do more than that, but it's fine if you just did only the things that I ask you. In other classes, I see some people going above and beyond, adding delete and whatnot. So, but that's fine. So let's go and start with the first one that we have here, which is under work.html. So we'll preview that at the bottom. So we'll have a preview here. So no bootstrap was used. It's still okay. That's fine. But at this stage, I will also like you guys to make use of what you've learned in terms of other tools that you've learned. You know, we are starting from HTML. So this will be a way for you to be testing out all your CSS skill, all your bootstrap skill, so that you will not, forget them. The more you do them, the more you get to understand them. So this will be a very good way for you to test that. So I think you reference a style here, but that style is not on this page. So when you are sending me your document, you can send me your style as well. So someone was talking about Git. We have a Git video. I will send that Git video to you guys. Git is supposed to be another course entirely because of the technicality involved. And if we start going to it, we would deviate away from the course. And that's why Git is a separate course on its own. So, but I did a one-time video for Git. I'll send it to you if it's something you can easily maneuver. We've not had time to do a separate class for Git. Okay, we have this one showing here, and we have the JS code on the side as well. So it looks pretty simple, nothing too difficult or nothing too strange. So let's go ahead and test it and see what it does. So if I say task 1 and I add it, Ogbeni, your work is not working. Oh. So do you have a defense to this? Why is it not working? Okay. So what I've noticed is that there is different code was assigned here. Something different was assigned here, which is assign.js, and we don't have that assign.js here. JavaScript in the JavaScript was named dev.js, and the reason why we're putting the JavaScript at the bottom is because if you put it inside the head, some of the things that you need would have been created first. So your JavaScript most of the time is added at the end of the body, because the JavaScript will make use of some things here, and sometimes things needs to be initialized first here in the body before the script is called. Okay, let's see if it's working now. Let's say I just put some random stuff here. Oh, okay, it's working. Nice. So what I was also, like I said, you can add more things to it. You can have the ability for you to delete, because the idea of this task is that you're adding a to-do task. You can make it fancy. You've done this. It's a big deal in terms of the fact that you can manipulate what it is that you're seeing on a page, and you should take time to make, when I mean make a big deal about it, make it flashy. Right? I know you implemented the style, but we can't see it here. So make it flashy, do add more features. Think about other features that can go in here. Example of those features are the fact that you can delete, you can check, you can do a checkbox. We'll try and implement that. We'll do a checkbox so that when we check, it should kind of rule it out. And then we can also add delete to also remove it from the list. So that maybe if you made a mistake, you added something, you can delete, you can even add edit to it. So we'll see if we can have that done today. Okay, I think that's just it. So let's review your code. because it's not just looking at the results. The result is one thing, and also what deliver the result is another thing. Even though your client is not, is not worried about how the code looks like, because you are under training, is our duty to also make sure that you're writing a valid code. Okay, so you got in the input output. These names are really not too good for your naming convention, right? So put a name that mimic what it is you're about to do. So this input is this. Yeah, this input is okay, not too bad, and that's, I'm guessing this is it here. So I can let that fly. Input, I can let that fly. Then the output is more of like okay, not too bad. Okay, I also let that fly, but it can be a region where you display the result of your task information. Okay, not too bad. So you have the button that does the whole thing. When you click on the add button, it does the other things for you. I don't know. Okay, so I want to focus on just DOM manipulation. I don't want to add event listener to the whole mix. I know that you guys have read or have watched event listener, so I will not do anything event listener today. For the purpose of the person coming new, I will still allow you guys to go and watch more video on event listener based on what is on our YouTube. I will send you another video that you can watch as well, so that in the next class we'll cover event listener, very well. So this is more of like assignment review, and for us to be able to, beef up this to do app again. So this is the first time I'm seeing null being inserted in a value. Normally, what I will do is just to put an empty string. What I would do is to put an empty string. Like I said, I have not used null like this inside a value before. So null is a data type, and what null means is does not exist. Null means something does not exist, kind of. Null has several meaning, but literally null means does not exist. So what you want to set here is more of like an empty text or an empty string. So this looks this kind of better instead of having a null thing going on there. Okay, so let me see if it's still working. Yeah, it's still working. So another thing you want to do is that at the point where that would be the addition we would do to the system to make it robust. So let me see other things you've done here. I mentioned about creating elements, the future of documents for you to create elements. This is like a powerful thing, guys. You can create anything. Just imagine you are just creating lists yourself without anybody's approval. You just go ahead and do your stuff. So this is God mode. As far as I'm concerned, this is God mode, being able to create anything. So you then append that information here. Okay, add the value to this list, and then you have it here. So I hope you've read this part very well. The idea of doing this is not just to copy and paste code, is the fact that you actually understand what you've written. So let's move on to the next thing, the next assignment we have here. So we're done with this one. So I have, this was also name index. Whoa, this is a lot. This is a lot. Okay. Let's preview what we have here. Preview, and this should be split at the bottom. Okay, this is fancy. This is what I want to see. So the idea of fancy is just for you to go all out, try and put something else in the mix, let it be fun. You have a whole lot of time to yourself to do all these things, so you need to go all out. And I encourage you guys to do that. There's one that my student did on Python. I asked them to do a banking app, and he did an automated teller machine, which was impressive. So it's very interesting when students go all out to do things like this. So let's see if it's working first, then I will check out the code. That's what I do first. I first test if it's working, and then I check out the code. So if I do hello, 1, 2, 3. I like the color theme and everything. It looks so futuristic. It looks like as if I'm in a movie, kind of. Nice one, nice one. So this is cool. This is cool. Like I said, we need to. So you added clear all. Great, great job. So this is cool. This is cool. So putting another mix to it. So let's go ahead and see what you did in your coding. Okay, I've not been using doc type and all those things, so forgive me. But one of the reasons why I don't use all these things is that I want the code to be as minimal as possible, meaning I don't want anything to distract the people I'm teaching. That's why I go as small as this. And by the way, you can even start your code without putting all these stuffs. You can just start your code with body, but it's not a good practice. So it's good that you guys are following all these little things. So let's move on to, okay, so this is you bringing in Bootstrap. Like I said, it's good to use your knowledge of all the things I've taught you guys, because by doing so, it creates consistency, and you can, keep pushing in and understanding what it is you are doing. Let's move on to the input part. Okay, so this is adding the button to clear and having this like this. What other thing? Okay, so this is function, calling add button, content, so nothing special here. Okay, so then the script calling. So in the script, each of the control or the element have their variable held. You hold their variable. That's what is happening here. Anything you must manipulate, you need to hold it, for use down the line. That's the purpose of this. So this is you going ahead to go and use event listener. I will not be teaching event listener today, but you have already gone ahead to show yourself you've used event listener, but that's fine. We are teaching event listener in the next class, not this class. So any method I'm going to do today, I'm not going to use event listener for people that are still, not getting to that stage yet. Okay, so here we have, okay, we create an li because the idea is we want to add new item into here, and we append the value set to empty. And here you gave it a style, which is kind of strange. I don't know why you have to style it like this. So, but let me give you a heads up how you can do that correction. Even though this one is to show you the power of what you can do with JavaScript. You can use JavaScript to do anything. So you can do a lot, guys. So JavaScript can actually do a lot. So you can see what I just did there. So one of the way you can, make it better is to move all these guys to style sheets, as in to take it to CSS and not bother yourself adding it in your code. There are situations where you need to add it within JavaScript. If JavaScript, manipulate the style and it's not fixed, so it's fine. You can put it in your JavaScript. But our advice, just put it in your style sheet. Okay, you didn't create any style sheets. Okay, you didn't create any style sheets. So, but you can just add it to, you can specify the class name. Okay, you want it to automatically implement a particular thing. So what you can do is you can do class name is equal to, so you can use Bootstrap class name. So let me do text. Let me just test it. So text danger will change the text to red, obviously. So you can see that. So you can add CSS, Bootstrap CSS rule to it. So if you wanted to add a specific color, you can put that color in there. So let me just do info for now. And since you wanted to pad it by 5, you can do P-5. That will be too much. Let's do P-2. So I will comment this one out so that you see the difference of what we have there. So that will just be what it is there. So you can see the one px that we add gave it that padding. So what that means is every li that you have here, we have that setting. Most time it's good for that to be set first before those change needs to occur. It's safe for us to use this project for our demonstration of what we want to do next. And since you implemented this one, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove it. I don't want to show any code implementing that method, like I said. So I'm going to use something like, I'm going to tweak it a little bit, if you don't mind. So we have the clear button removed. We don't need it anymore. So I want to do top. I'm trying to make adjustments to see. Okay, so I think this one should go. Okay, so what we want to do on this is to add some features, and the idea is so that we can learn more about the DOM manipulation and the properties that we have access to. Because one of the important things about document object model is the fact that you have access to everything on a web page. So let me show you what that means. So primarily, this is the guy that you are concerned about. This guy called documents. This document here is the one in charge of everything. So when you mean document object model, they're talking about this guy document. So with this guy, you can do a whole lot of stuff, So we'll be, of course, we're not going to be talking about everything. There's like everything, a lot of things there. So we're just going to be focusing on few things, and we've pointed out the things we'll need. We've talked about how to capture a particular element to manipulate it. We'll be looking at quite a number of these things. So you don't need to get overwhelmed by all those stuff, all these things you are seeing here. You just need to focus on the one you need to be able to do a particular thing. And you can also be curious to, check out what one does, what a particular one does, to give you an insight, what is doable and what is not doable. Okay. I want us to be able to do a checkbox. I want us to be able to add a checkbox here whereby we can flag and say, hey, we have done this one, we've done this one. Remember, it's a to-do list. So we should kind of be able to do a checkbox on each. And if time permits us, we might do editing so that we can make adjustments. And enable or implement editing, meaning we should be able to have edit button and the information should be displayed here for us to correct. So how do we go ahead with that? First of all, we need to provide that functionality of providing a button here, and that we kind of create a different interface to this one. So we can do is sometimes you need to first build the interface. How will it look like? So that when you are constructing the JavaScript DOM itself, it's very easy. You already know what you want to design. In this case, it's pretty simple. You have the UL and the LI. It's simple. But this time around, there will be so many things inside here. There will be this guy. There will be a button. So you need to first plan your design. So to do that, I'm going to go into this guy and plan the design, kind of create a template. So let's go ahead and create a template. So this is like a way to help yourself to visualize how it's going to look like. So I can say task 1 here. So I have this task 1. How do I want to do it in such a way that I can have a button in this side? So we can do let's say edit. So let me check out what we can use to be able to do that in Bootstrap, guys. And these are different kind of lists available. So this is one list, and this is a list, but this list comes with this kind of button. But this is not a button. This is what they call a badge. So I want to see if I can implement, just use this. I don't want to write too much CSS. Just use this and implement that. But it looks like the closest we're having is something like this. So we want to make this. This is what we're using, guys. I'm going to use this guy to do that. So I'm going to copy everything here and go and put in our program and see how it looks like. Then we do the hack from there. Yeah, I'm going to remove the first UL, but notice what happened in the first UL. The first UL have what I call list group. So I'm going to put this one as a list group. So I remove this one and I remove the one that ends it so that I can make this one a list group. So I have that info there, but why is it coming as it's having its own container? So let me read what is going on here. And this is the card thing going on here. Let me see what that will do to it. Okay, it's not having any effect. I'm going to see what other thing do I need to remove. So remember what I'm doing, guys. We are styling it to give us a desirable outcome. We are styling to give us a desirable outcome that we want. So we just need one template. So I delete every other thing so that we can focus our attention on a particular thing. So this is what we have, guys. We have one particular list. So we want to turn this 14 to be like an edit effect. So instead of it, we have a span here. We can turn it to a button if it will agree. Let's try. So we have a. So we turn this to a link, which you can see that is link, which is cool. So we can put like edit button here or edit text. So you can see that it's working. However, we don't need it to be circular like this. So this is now a preference. If you just want it to be a text like this, or you can want it to be an icon. Remember, we also did an icon. So you can bring it in as an icon. So an icon can come in to serve that purpose, but we'll just make it very simple like this and make it this. If I remove this badge, I think it will not float anymore. Okay, it's still floating, but I like the small text effect that is given. So we've been able to do there. So we'll say this one will be content. Content will be here. Okay, so let me try and remove as many things as I can remove here. Let me try and remove as many things as I can remove here. So the flex is what is making it to have this effect. So if you remove this flex, it's going to go awry. So that flex is helping it. This content is bringing this whole content here. Text align item is the one that's making it stay in the middle. Group item, I want to remove that border. Good. I was looking to remove that border. So we have something like this. So this is actually manageable. This is what I want us to be able to achieve, where our content will be here and the next content will keep coming. So first of all, you want to be able to push this to the system before we activate the button. We are not activating the button now. I will see if I can throw this. Okay, I think we should be able to do it without event listener. We'll be able to do it. So guys, I will comment this one out. Do you see that I've commented it out? So this is the template that we need to take to JavaScript to replicate for us. So content, this is content. Remember, this is still working. This is our previous template. This is the new one that we want to be injected into this place. So now, how do you replicate all this information inside here? It's pretty simple. You already know how to create your LI. Remember, guys, we've done that here. The only thing that is special is now that we are passing all this into our class. So in fact, since we have this, I can just copy everything and put it where? And put it inside where we specify the class name for the LI. So you can see that the LI is here and this is the class name. We'll put all those information inside there. And once I do that, let's test it again. I have my content and it's working at some point, but we've not have the edit button. But just take it step by step. How do we bring in the edit button? Remember that this LI is just for it so that when the edit button comes in, it will make sense. Now, the edit button is coming as what? It's coming as a content inside what? Inside the LI. Very important. The edit button is coming as a content inside LI, and it's also an anchor. It can be anything, but let's just make it an anchor so that it will have that underlying effect. So what that means is that we will need to add the content. Let me see where you have the content here. So here is where you have the content here, which is okay. So you have two methods. You have two methods of adding the anchor button. You can add the anchor button by typing it, because this is HTML. So you can write your HTML tag here and it will work. So let me do the first method for you guys. So if I have this and I also want to put another thing here, so I can plus it with something like this. Do you see? I'm writing HTML and it's working. So I can then do class and specify badge there. You can do something like this, is valid. So I'll call this edit, is valid. So let's run this. So do you see, guys, do you see my edit button? So that's the power of inner text, inner HTML. HTML allows you to put anything, like if you type HTML here in a string, it will recognize it and put it as HTML. But if you call it inner text will only give you text. It will not turn it to HTML. So do you see, it just gives you a text. So you should know the difference between inner text and inner HTML. So I'm not going to be using this method. In fact, for safety, most of the time it's better to be using text for safety reason, because this can be used to hack your site. Yeah, it can be used to actually hack your site. So you want to be safe and and just provide only this information. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to give you the second method to use to do it. What's the second method? The second method is to create the anchor element all over again. Yes, to create the anchor element. So let's go ahead and create our A, just the way you create your LI. So you create A is equal to document.create element, and this time you are creating an anchor. Okay, so now you can then set the child. You know, the anchor also has inner text, and it also has class. So you set the class and you set the inner text. So therefore we can say a dot inner text. So remember, always use inner text. It's safe. There might be a reason why you might want to use inner HTML anyway. So we set it to edit. Then you set the class name to badge. Okay, now that you've done this, you now add this A, you add it inside li. You use the append child as well. So li.append, you're appending inside li. So let's give it a try and see if it works. So we'll say go to school, and you can see that working very well. You know, you can have your edit feature and everything. Go to, okay. Now we've been able to do that between this one. I don't like the way it's looking like that. So we have several ways we can implement that line demarcation. You can use border, because this is li. So there's something we call border bottom. I think this should work. Okay, so the border added everywhere. On setting the border. So I have this, then I can properly now copy this and comment this one out again. Then I will implement this. I will implement it this way. So if you try it again now, you should have that border setting like that. So let me see what you did inside the content. This top, this one should be like 1. Okay. This one is too wide. So let's do 3. Okay. It's better this way. Moving on to the next thing. How do you then allow this button to be noticed? I want to be able to click this button. How do you make it clickable? The best way to do it will be to use event listener, but we're not in that class yet. I will use another method. To be able to do it. Now we've gone ahead to create our anchor. You can set a lot of things to your anchor. Remember, you now have control over the elements. You can do quite a lot of things. we can actually attach an event to it. So let's go ahead and see how that works. So we have anchor. Remember that you have a way to determine if a button was clicked or any element was clicked. Most of the elements, if not every element, has a click event. All elements, I guess, has click events. So we should be able to tap into the click event of an anchor. Just like you did this way, like this button, then you type on click. Remember, we're able to also click into or tap into the class name. You can tap into any of the attributes. So if that's the case, we can actually tap into the click event of a button by saying a.click. So that's it, guys. So you have the onClick. You can use the onClick event to tap into it, or you use the click event to also tap into it. So you assign this one to a particular function that you must have written, because this is an event, so it must be assigned to what? Another event that you must have written to do the work that you want it to do. So I'm going to comment this one out. I'm not going to assign it to anything yet, because that event has not been created, or that function has not been created. Remember that we have to create this function for this to work. This function is attached. This add is attached to this function. Now, this one we're about to do here, we have to attach it to a function. So we have to go ahead and create another function. And the purpose of this function is to edit. So we do function and we call it edit. Okay, so once we do this, let's check if this is properly called. And our console log, we log out what is going on. So I will say I'm called. I will show you how to toggle the console log so that you can have a visibility of it from your VS Code. So I have the function like so, and I can then go ahead and call our function by calling it like this, edit. So this now has been assigned to the click event. So let's check out our DOM, our dev panel. So I clicked on the right hand side here, and then there's an option that came up that says open dev tool panel. So these are other things that has been going on. I'm going to clear everything so that we can have a clean view as we test our interface. So I will say hello here, and if I click here, once we click on this edit button, we should see something that comes up here. So if it's not coming up, it means we are not doing the right job. So this is a function. So let's add it to the onClick. Let's add this to the onClick event. Okay, so it needed to be added to the onClick event part of the element, not the click event. And this is a way for me to check, because now when I click it, you saw the result. It says I'm called. So let me click that again. Let me do this. And then if you click anyone, you have this result there. Click anyone, you have that result there. And this is a little bit tricky, but let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay, there are so many ways you can write a function in JavaScript. And one of the major functions, one of the way is this one I've taught you guys. There's also another one that I called closure function. And that one is to write your function immediately you need it, instead of putting it outside here. And that's the method we are going to use for a reason, because we want to pass, we'll be needing to pass arguments or pass information around. That's why we want us to use that method. And that method is also easier to use across board to make what we want to do clearer. Okay, so you already know how to write this function. Not because of DOM manipulation. Remember that we've treated function before. We've treated function in other classes. So this new method requires you to just still use this method. But in this case, you're not going to give it a name. So look at writing this method inside here, but you are not giving it a name. So I'm going to copy the entire thing and put it, just see the way you normally write function. So don't get confused, guys. And that's why I said I'm going to write almost virtually the same thing. I'm inside here, and this one is going to be inside bracket. So what I just copied now, I'm going to paste it inside here. Do you see what I just did? But I'm not going to give it a name. So that is how you write a closure function. Let me do it again so that you see it. Let me do it again. So you already know how to write a function. This is a function that is working very well. If you want to run a closure function, you will use the same way you write a function, but it will not have a name. So I'm going to copy this guy, and instead of me having this edit here, I'm going to replace it with a closure function. Not just that, I'm also going to remove the name. So that way it's nameless. So this whole function is assigned to the onClick event. So let's give it a try again and see if it will work. So if we come and do this one, so let's do this, and we click on edit, you can see that it says I'm called. So there's a reason why we're using closure function. We'll explain that later as we go on. So that is working very well. Now let's move on to, so this is on edit clean, on edit click. The next thing we want to do is that once we click this button, what do you want to happen? We want that whatever is in this box that we did. So let me write it out so that you guys will see it. When this edit button is clicked, you have to also picture what you want and then translate it to the code you're about to design. Once this button is clicked, it should send all this information to here. So how do you achieve that? To achieve that, we have the information already that was clicked inside here, which is input, which is this value. But I will not use this value because this value will be long gone. I will use this value that I have here, because remember that we're clearing this value out here already, except we pass it as an argument inside here and we make use of it. So there are many ways we can use this section here. So I will make use of this one here. The text, I want the text field, that's the new text field, I want it to be equal to what I clicked, that's on this section. So I have this guy. So it's like I'm reversing it now. So what I'm saying now is that when you clicked, whatever is I click adjacent to, you know, the li that I have here that I just created, the value of what I have, the text of what I have, assign it to the value in this box so that it can be visible to me that, you know, I should go ahead and edit. So I will say, I'll put this value here. Let me say another value here. So if I click on edit on the second value, I should see the second value here, right? If I click on the first value, I should see the first value here. Do you guys see what's going on? So I've been able to achieve one step. There are a lot of things you can do to give the user visual information. Like for example, when you're in edit mode, you want to change this one to maybe lock it or give it a different look so that it's kind of different from what is going on. So you can change that by doing any settings you want to do. But we're focused on making just one single information happen. Remember that when you add, now everything will change to adding it to this. So it has disturbed what you are doing. What that means is that when you are in edit mode, you need to find a way to remove this add and change it to save. Do you get? Because when you are in edit mode, this one is still doing his work of adding. His work does not change. His work is to add. So once you send information here, What do you want to do with this button? You want to hide it and show alternative button. In that case, it means we will have two buttons here at all time. So let's go ahead and add the second button, which is to save. So we have one for add and one for save. We don't want to use the same button to do the rest. So I will change this function to save button, and I'll call this save. And I should by default be able to display and hide it as well. Okay, I need to also give them a name so that I can reference them. I can call them. What name did you give one of them? Oh, okay, you didn't give them name. You didn't give them name. So now we need to give them name, because you need to be able to decide on which one to show or which one not to show. So here I can say display is none, meaning by default, this is using Bootstrap. So by default, it should not show the save button. The save button should only show when the edit button has been clicked. And when you click the save button back, the save button should go away. Kind of, that's the idea. So there's a lot of things going on here that you need to be able to follow as we are doing it. So we need to give both of them names so that we can call on them to do stuff for us when we need them. So the first one, I will give it add button. And the second one, I'll call it, let me just give it this kind of name. And the second one, we'll call it save button. Okay, we have the two guys saved, and let's go ahead and get them here and manipulate them. So I'll say add button. So I always use the same name so that I don't need to worry. This one is a name from HTML. It doesn't conflict with the JavaScript name, so we're good to go. And all these guys can actually be constant. They can actually be constant because they won't really change like that. So this one can then become save button. Remember guys, immediately you do this one, you want to hide which one? You want to hide the add button. So while you are here, how do you hide the add button? You don't need to worry about knowing the process for hiding. There is another one for hiding, but since you are using Bootstrap, you use the knowledge of Bootstrap to hide a particular things. And how do you do that? By implementing dblock. Dblock is to show, dnone is to hide. So I'm going to use, remember, if I use this method, it's going to replace whatever is there. So this is not a good method to show, because this one is going to change whatever class name that is there, is going to change it. So because of time, I'm going to be a little bit lazy with this. I'm going to be lazy with it and just pass all the whole information for the button. I'm going to be lazy with it. So these are the buttons that we have here, and this is what is called outline. I think it shouldn't be outline. I think this gives us a better visual appeal. So it shouldn't be outline. And I think they shouldn't have the same color. So this should be primary, and one should be info. Yeah. So we can then say for add button will have all this. I'm being lazy about this now. So since this is add button should replace the whole thing here. It should go none, right? While this one here, the save button should go to info and do block. So this one is going to go none. This one is going to go block. So let's test this out and say item 1. And once you add it, okay, we started getting error. So the system has stopped working. So these are our first error, and it's very okay for you to get into error, because it tells you that you are you've gone too far. So you need to check what's going on. It's good we're getting it online. So let me show you how to check when you have error and the system is not working the way it's supposed to work. The same place we are coming from, open dev panel, we click there, because if you try to look at it with your eyes, it might get difficult for you to find out where things are going on. So I'm going to close everything by doing like this, and then try and call it again. So on clicking it, you can see that it's saying add button is not a function. So we are using our add, we are using what we are doing the wrong way. We are using this the wrong way. Say add button is not a function. Okay, so what we've done is that we've used the same name. Can you see? Add button, add button, add button. This name has already been used before as a function. So, and then we went ahead to start using it as a name of an element, which is way, way bad. So we've gotten to where we can change the name to, I'll change it to BTN. BTN. So all the buttons should be changed to BTN. That's for these ones, while this one will remain what it is. So we've not even gone too far. We've started hitting issue with naming. That's why, naming your stuffs, you have to be very careful. Okay, so I'm also gonna, to be consistent, I'm gonna call it this on the front end as well. So let's go back to the front end and change all these things. So, but this one is going to be called add BTN. So we shouldn't have issue anymore now. Let's give it a try. So we have our hello and then we have our hi. So if you edit one, what should happen to this? This should go away and our save should come there and this should go there. That's it. So you can see, but hey, it's combining two things there. Don't be waiting to ask me to do this, but that's fine. So it's combining two very funny things into our list. It's cramping two things into our list. And I think I can tell where the issue is coming from. Let's refresh and give it a try again. So if we did the first thing, we have, okay, it's coming with edit. So did we type, why is the edit coming in? Okay, that's the reason why it's coming with edit, is because our inner text carries the edit button. Remember, our inner text also comes with edit. So we need to be able to separate the value from the edit. Let me see if this will assign itself to this. No, that will not. So we need to keep the value in a different place. So the reason why it's coming like that, let me show you again so that you see what's going on. You know that everything here is the content of the li, even plus the edit is the content of the li, even with edit. So you need to be able to either save the information separately, whereby this will have its own item, which we can do like so. Let me show you from the visual representation. So you can do it like this, meaning you want to create a different hierarchy, right? Do you see what's going on here? Inside the li, we have a span so that you can easily get the content of the span and put it here and not worry about the content of only li, because li has the content here and it also has content here. So that's why it's bringing the edit alongside with it. So quickly, let's add span to what we are doing. That means we have to create another element again inside. So now this is just a container. li is a container, which we don't need to worry about this again. We need to create, so meaning we don't need to do something like this in our text. So we then need to do span. Span will then be what we use to hold our information, so that this one will then be span. Then you need to add span inside the li. Where is the li again? So this is the li. After the li has append, so the li will append span and also append li. That's it. So let's give it a try, so that we'll just be getting span inner text and not li inner text. And we do this. So let's see. So if we do edit, you can see that it's not coming up with the edit button. The next thing we want to do now, we now have this is selecting very well. The next thing we want to do is we want to be able to save what we've done. This is the challenging part. This is what the challenging part. We need to be able to save what it is that we've done. I will just do a very easy method, but the idea is that you should know where you are coming from so that you can update what it is you want to do. For now, what I will show you how to do is just to add new item for now. Now that we've been able to have this item here, how do we edit it? We want to edit in place. We should be able to edit this in place. Like if we make adjustments and we click on save, the content we are adding here should replace this content. So what that means is that we need to be able to know where we are at every point. So how can we figure out our location in space and time? How can we figure out our location in place and time? So we need to document the location before you can know where it is. If you don't document anywhere, you will not see it. Let me show you something. Look at this now. You can see the elements that we have here. This is the first element, and you can see it highlighted. And there's no way to indicate there's no reference to indicate if this is the first element we clicked or this is the second element we click. What I want to do now is I want to put a marker. What I mean by marker is I want to put a tag. I want to put a tab on what we did, where we are. Like if I click on this second edit, I need to be able to tell this system that is the second one I clicked. So there should be a label. Now, if you look at this, all of them are identical. There's no way for me to know which one is the first one or which one is the second one. I don't have to use a number. I can just use any random tag to label it. Any random tag to label it will do. So what that means is that at the point of me creating this list item, I need to tag it somehow. I need to give it a unique ID so that when I'm saving it back, I will save it according to the ID that was there, that is existing. So in this li, I will give the li an ID. I will give this li also an ID so that when I'm editing, I will also send the ID to this guy. And when this guy is saving, he will know that he's saving against the particular ID. That's what we want to do. So first of all, let's give the li an ID. So I will not close this so that it doesn't lost in what I'm trying to show you guys. Okay, so how do we generate an ID for this guy? Quite simple. We already have the li. So the content we are trying to edit is the span. Remember, the li itself is the full thing. The content I'm particular about is the span, which we've just added. So how do you create ID for span? Just a span.id. Very simple. And we assign a new ID to it. So I'm just going to do something dynamic. I'm going to create a random maths class. So that if we do something like this, okay guys, so can you see this is now the ID for this particular element. So I can use this ID to make call to change this value at any time I want. So let's look at the second one. This is the first one. So if I add a new one here, I have the second ID as well, which is span like so. So if I click on edit, I will be able to know which one I'll keep a memory which one I'm editing, so that when I'm saving, it will save that one that I want. So let's go and do the technicality. Let's put the stuff to use. Let me see this dot from here. If you multiply by, let's say 10,000, the dot will go to 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you convert it to integer. That is what we want to do, guys. I want to remove this dot from here. So what do? Very simple. I go to where we have our math class. I multiply it by as many figures as I want. Then I convert the whole thing to an integer. So there's pass integer. So this does a conversion, convert a string to an integer. There's a ceiling. There's a ceiling function. Let me see. Pass int like this, and remember we're getting something like 0 point, all this value. So if I multiply by 1000, I will get something like this. I want to get whole number, so I already have underscore, which is a valid JavaScript name that you can use. You can use underscore. So now I've multiplied with this, and what I'm using is pass int. I'll go right nonsense there. So pass int. Let's give it a try and see. So that will work fine, so that we can save time and move on to the next thing. Now that we have the ID set, I need to put a place to know the current ID that we are using for anything. And let me give you that in perspective. Anytime you put something here, it jumps in here. Once you say edit, there need to be a thing that holds the ID of what you are editing, so that when you click save, it will use that ID to save that information. So something needs to hold that ID in place, and I will call that or something to what to edit, right? The ID of what to edit. So I leave it as blank, is empty. ID of what to edit. So I say ID of what to edit. So it's undefined. So anytime click on add and then you click on edit like this guy sets, you set the ID to delete. So I'm gonna come here. When I click on edit, this is edit going on. So I click on ID to edit, becomes what? It becomes this guy's ID, this value. It becomes whatever is this value. It becomes the ID. Now that I have that ID there, whenever I now click on the save, this is what I will use to get the value of what to change. Okay, let's go ahead and implement save. So to do save, I will go down here and do save button. Just to show you that we are saving this, let's console log this information, because I like to use console log a lot so that you can see what is going on in the system. So that save button is being called whenever we need it. So let's go to the console and see what is happening. So whenever you have this, you do this. Then if you click edit, you have this. Let me now save. When we save, this is the ID of what we are saving on. So let's go ahead, let's repeat again and do as many as we want. But when we click save, there should be a lot of things that is happening on save. A lot of things should be happening. Like for example, you should clear it, and for example, this should happen here. Something should happen to these buttons. For starters, the add button should not be visible, and the save button should not go away, right? That's the flip should occur, and whatever is in the text value should be cleared. We've not done the savings yet though. Just want to show you what is going on so that we can test other buttons or other value again. So let's make this visible now. So if we clear this, if we have this value, I have that value, I have 3 values now. Let's go ahead and test them one by one. The first one, edit, I save. You can see that the first one has this ID. So if I do this one and the first one, if you do the first one again, the first one will still carry the same ID. Nothing changes. So let's try the last one. If you edit the last one, you save, you can see that the last one has this ID. So is this ID, we are going to go and look for the content of what to replace. That's the tagging I talked about. So let's go and do the actual thing. So if I have this value here and I have this, so I have to use a method to get the document using the ID. So I will come here. Inside here, I don't need to console log again, but this time around, I want to get the ID of what to edit. What to edit. This is now representing what to edit. The ID, the element, that's the span. This is the span now. This is the span. Then whatever you must have done, all the change that you must have done will be inside here. Your change will be inside here. And I've gotten my element like so. I can then do this dot inner text to be equal to whatever that you've come to be the new thing you want there. And once that has been settled, clear the text. So this should work seamlessly. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So we don't need the console again, except if we have error. So I'll just type some random stuff there. I add, type another random stuff. I add another random stuff. I add. Then let's start with the middle one. So let's change this one to something good. Going to work. Let's save. It works, right? Then let's change something else. Let's change the last one. Good. Next one. Let's save that, and it's working. And finally, of course, it's gonna work. Then let's add more, just to make sure that nothing is broken. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Guys, you have your stuff working very well for you. So this is how to do that. So what I will give you guys to go and do is this. Once you edit, right, you can create a visual effect. Once you have edit, you can also make this one change the face or make it gray. Once you're in edit mode, you can make it gray so that it won't be this bright. It can be a little bit dim. You can have text muted. It can be a little bit dim so that it gives a visual feedback to the user that something is happening. And then when you save, this guy can brighten up. I'm giving you guys stuff, but I don't think it's if it's difficult, don't worry. We can do it at another class, but it's just gonna give a very good effect of what's going on. Imagine you have this as an app. So once you edit like this, it can I think no need to do so many effects. But this is it, guys. This is working. What I will do right now is the code. I will send you guys the code so that you guys can play with it. That is all we have for today's class. Do you guys have any question?